Hey guys. This is the very first episode of Her Nut Matters. So, if you've been rocking with PrHOEvocative for a while, at this point it's been a little over 2 years officially for PrHOEvocative. And some of y'all know the background, but if this is your first time joining us for this episode, PrHOEvocative was started technically in 2021. Now, you won't find a episode on any of the podcast platforms that predates August of 2022. However, PrHOEvocative was real and PrHOEvocative did exist. So when I first started PrHOEvocative, it was on Facebook Live. So if you are friends with me on Facebook, you can go back all the way to 2021. So the very first time I went live, and you can hear the things that we were talking about, right? When I started PrHOEvocative in 2021, I only went live for a couple months, and then I had a break. I paused with PrHOEvocative. I've actually never told y'all this, right? People that know me personally know this story, right? So I started PrHOEvocative, was going live. Now, I'm not going to tell y'all why I started PrHOEvocative. We can get into that on another episode, but started PrHOEvocative, was going live on Facebook. And then I had I'm not gonna hold you, I basically had a near-death experience. That's exactly what happened, right? So had a near-death experience. And then I got super, super depressed. I stopped going live because when I would go live or try to go live, you could see it in my face that I was not there mentally. So I just stopped. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna just take a break and then come back to it, right? Took a break. When I came back to PrHOEvocative, I went live one more time in 2022, and it was on April 6th. Went live one time on April 6th. And then I transitioned to FC Network, and then now you can find all of those episodes that I recorded on all of the podcast platforms. But again, that was still in April of 2022. I didn't start posting them until August of 2022, right? So that just kind of gives you a sense of the kind of initial kind of bumps that I had to experience before I even started PrHOEvocative for real, right? So fast forward, there are over 200 episodes of PrHOEvocative, and now I'm talking to y'all about some Her Nut Matters. So why the fuck did I change the name of PrHOEvocative? Welcome to Her Nut Matters, the podcast that dives headfirst into all things sex, pleasure, and empowerment. I'm Jody, your unapologetic guide to a more liberated sex life. Here we break down taboos, celebrate sexuality, and explore what it means to truly own your pleasure. So whether you're curious, kink-friendly, or just looking for ways to spice things up, you're in the right place. Now let's get to it. Because I know that's what y'all thinking. Y'all like, what the hell? Why are you changing the name, right? And I'm always going to be honest with you guys. I'm not a very transparent person, but I am a very honest person. And I like being honest with y'all. So part of the reason that I'm changing the name of PrHOEvocative is because the things that held true when I started PrHOEvocative don't hold true for me anymore, right? PrHOEvocative was something that I created to document and kind of process what I was experiencing at a specific point in time, aka my whole phase. And my whole phase started in 2021 when I created PrHOEvocative. Again, the people that have been listening to PrHOEvocative for years know that I never had a hoe phase, so I felt like I owed it to myself to go out there and do some hoe shit. So that's what I decided to do. I decided to live out my version of what hoedom looked like, right? And I documented that journey on PrHOEvocative. I'm not in a hoe phase anymore. That's not something that I kind of been out of a hoe phase for a while. And just mentally, that's not where I am. the intention behind going to explore and do things, the kind of underlying tones, the essence of what that was in 2021 no longer it rings true for me. And so while there are a lot of things that I am going to keep as ideologies and outlooks on the world of sex, I'm going to keep a lot of the core values that I've learned throughout provocative, but the spirit in which provocative was created is not there anymore, if that makes sense. Okay? So I need a name that's going to reflect the values that still exist but are continuing to evolve like in real time. So similar to provocative, that name just resonated and it documented a journey. This new name is going to pay homage to an extent to provocative because, like I said, the core, the essence is still there, but again, the intention and driving force behind why I created provocative doesn't exist anymore, because I created provocative because I felt inexperienced. I created provocative as a way to unapologetically just like dive straight in and figure out who I wanted to be and what my relationship to sex was. I know who I want to be sexually, and I know what my relationship to sex is now. So the word provocative, just for me, it's a reminder of where I was, but it's not where I'm going. Like it provocative, just again, my baby. I appreciate provocative, right? Provocative was a huge learning experience for me, but with the transition to Her Nut Matters, it's explaining where I am presently and where I'm going as well, and where I will continue to go, right? I always knew that provocative was not gonna like last forever. I knew at some point I was gonna have to pivot. I didn't know when, but sometimes you don't really know when. You don't really know that specific moment where it's like, I have to change something because something in me has changed. And the last couple months, like the last 2 months, have been very eye-opening for me. I do a lot of self-reflection as it gets into the fall and winter months anyway. So for me, it's all about like killing off things that don't serve me no more, and then giving birth to things that need to be birthed in the moment, if that makes sense. Similar to the season, right? Like we're literally in the fall, and the autumn season is all about death. Like literally everything is dying off. All the flowers are dying off. It's getting cold. Like that's what the autumn and fall months are about. And also, I'm a Scorpio. Our season just started. When I'm recording this, our season just started. You guys actually won't hear this until my birthday. Y'all not gonna hear this episode until November 21st. So say happy birthday to me. But Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth. Like I pride myself on being someone that knows how to dead a situation and move on and find life and joy in something totally new. Like I pride myself on that. So that's technically what I'm doing with this episode, with the show. So yeah, again, the name is changing. There are going to be some other changes, but obviously, like, you guys have been growing with me. Anyone who's been listening from the very first episode, you've been growing with me. And you can go back to an old episode and see the growth in me as a person. It's some other shit that I probably did not mature in, and that's okay. Like, I probably didn't grow up in certain aspects. Like, at the end of the day, oh my God, I was going to say the day got to end. At the end of the day, I'm not going to say at the end of the day the day got to end. But what I will say is, shut up. I'm high. I'm high. And I lost it. I was going somewhere with it. I was going somewhere deep with it. And I lost it. Anybody that has been listening to PrHOEvocative from the very first episode, y'all been growing with me, right? So in the beginning, I was a brat. In the end, I'm still a brat. I'm an evolved version of that brat, but I'm still a brat. And that's where I was going with that. That's why I was going with that. Like, y'all can still expect the things that make Jody Jody. Like, I'm going to always be sexually curious. I'm going to always be a brat. I'm going to always say what I say and not care how it comes out. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to crack very dark jokes about shit that is very inappropriate, and I probably shouldn't be saying that, and I damn sure shouldn't be laughing at it. But I think that's what makes that kind of essence, those core values continue to be alive. And that's what you guys can continue to expect with Her Nut Matters. Like, it's still me, y'all. Like, I'm still gonna say crazy shit. I'm not gonna realize it's crazy until after, someone reacts to what I say, because obviously I love attention. Yeah, you still get me, right? You still get me. So, why did I name it Her Nut Matters? I'll be honest with y'all. And you know this already if you've been listening to PrHOEvocative for, the last 2 years. I stole the fucking name. Don't care. I hit up Alexander James and I told him, like, yeah, can I have your name? And he gladly was like, you know what? It makes sense for you to have that name. And that's how it was. Not gonna hold y'all. Just stole a name. Or, maybe I didn't steal it if the person gave me permission to take it. So I basically just went and got what I wanted. So I'll just put it that way. I wanted the name. I got the name. What else? I'm going to be doing like segments. I'm going to try to be a little bit more organized with the segments, right? Because I want to start giving y'all like sex facts and sex vocabulary and sex news, and I want to provide more value to you guys consistently. Like with PrHOEvocative, it'll be like an episode with me and a guest, and then we might be talking about this over here, or you might get me monologuing about something super, super deep, or you might get me monologuing where I'm just ranting and sneak dissing and talking shit, because y'all know I be sneak dissing on my podcast, and I don't care. But you might get those types of episodes. Now, am I saying that those types of episodes are going to go away? No, I'm not saying that. But what I might do is make those like Patreon exclusive episodes, or like make like the episode that where I go off the rail. I'm probably just gonna put that in Patreon. Like, cause I be sneak dissing. I know I be sneak dissing real bad, and I don't be caring. I guess, is it still sneak dissing if you don't care if the person know that you talking about them? Like, you not really trying to be sneaky. You dissing. Like I'm intentionally dissing this person. And I know it's like a 90%, 95% chance that they know I'm talking about them. So is it really sneak dissing? If like, I don't think so. I think I'm just dissing people. Because if they ask me, am I talking about them, I'm not going to lie. I'm an honest person. I'm not going to lie. But also, I feel like people not going to ask me, like, is you talking about me? Because they don't want to feel like, oh, like, I'm assuming you talking about me. But I really do be talking about the people that be thinking I be talking about. So, y'all can still expect those things, but you might find those things in different places. So, yeah. Also, you guys would have seen by now that the Instagram changed the name on Instagram, all the cover art, the visuals, the tone, the mood is still kind of the same, because it's like I still want to give Scorpio mysterious, sexy, but fun and playful, but like dom energy, but still feminine. I still want to give all those things. And I'm still going to give all of those things, but like I said, I'm just trying to like structure shit a little more, right? So yeah, you could definitely still expect that I'm gonna be talking to, like, anytime I bring a guest on, they gonna be dope as fuck. So that's not gonna change. I am not gonna saturate provocative with just having people on the show just to be having people on the show. I still want to keep the integrity of the show intact. And I think what comes with that is me continuing to, again, make sure I'm giving y'all dope ass content, funny jokes, and bringing on the best guests when it comes to the sex space, right? So I'm gonna continue to do that for y'all, and I'm gonna continue to try to go above and beyond when it comes to the caliber of guests that we have on the show. So yeah, you could definitely continue to expect that. And yeah, we still gonna talk about some of the things that we talked about on PrHOEvocative, in terms of always, having these conversations around the orgasm gap and sex education and sex health, and just understanding your body and understanding how to effectively communicate with people. Because part of the reason that so many people are bad at sex and so many people are not experiencing pleasurable sex is because there is a lack of education, there's a lack of understanding when it comes to your body, and then there's there's always miscommunication when it comes to having sex as well. So when you're able to tap into the knowledge and education, the understanding and comprehension of not only your body, but how your body interacts with other bodies, and then also pair that with effective communication, safe words, aftercare, all of those things combined is literally the key to an amazing sex life. So we will still be on track with that right there. All right. And yeah, my goal is, as always, like, I want people to advocate for themselves, right? Advocate for themselves and give themselves permission to explore sex, whether it be solo or with a partner or with partners. I want us to continue to give ourselves permission to do that, because we live in a world where everything that we do from a sexual perspective is scrutinized. And the reason that it's scrutinized is from years and years and years of programming. So a lot of our ideologies around sex are not ones that we genuinely, authentically, and organically formed ourselves. We just haven't. Like, literally, somebody along our adolescent, teenage, young adult years told us what sex was, and we accepted that. That is how we learned about sex. Someone else told us what it was, who told them what it was, who told them what it was. And it was accepted as truth, right? So I want to continue to take a very radical approach to deconstructing and decolonizing these fucked up ways of defining sex, and transform that into a definition that we create for ourselves, right? Because sex should be defined by what is pleasurable for you. I think that's kind of the broadest definition I could give you for what sex is, right? Because sex is not just penetration. Sex is so much more than what we've limited it to, right? And part of the reason that we limit what sex is because we limit the pleasure we allow ourselves to feel, right? So of course, her nut matters, similar to the, Black Lives Matter movement. I want us to take a look at the social constructs, the historic constructs, like the things that we know to be true when it comes to pleasure. And we're going to very specifically talk about female pleasure, because that female pleasure is the most marginalized. Female pleasure is not priority, right? And we see that through the education system. Nobody has we see how sex is always talked about from a biological focused perspective and never from a pleasure focused perspective, because to talk about sex in a pleasure centered and pleasure focused way is to also acknowledge the fact that women possess this pleasure playground that was literally only created to be played with, to be pleasured. The clitoris has no other purpose, reproductive or otherwise, except to be played with. If that is not a sign from God, I don't know what is. We have all these body parts, right? And they serve functions. They serve literal functions. The clitoris's only function is to be played with. That's it. It don't serve there's no other reason for it being there. So I want you guys to, honestly, I want to kind of challenge y'all to think about some of your underlying or some of the values or ideas around sex that you have, right? Let's do an audit. Let's do a sexual audit, right? And I do this with my clients, y'all. I make them do a sex audit every time we have our first session because I think it's important, right? So I'm putting on my certified sexologist hat a little bit, right? Let's do an audit, all right? What is sex? What do we think about sex? What have we been told about sex? What about our current thoughts around sex were implanted in us before we could experience it? What ideas around sex were a direct result of actual experiences? What positive, negative, or neutral sexual experiences have informed and changed, even if it's been over time, changed our ideas around sex, right? And then let's kind of like figure out where we want to go from there. Because once you understand why you think the way you think when it comes to sex, that's when you can kind of break down the walls, chip away at those limiting shame-rooted beliefs, right? Because shame didn't come from nowhere. There's a reason that we feel shame around certain sexual acts or, certain thoughts. It's a reason that we feel shame around those things, right? And so sometimes you got to dig a little deep, right? You got to dig a little deep to figure out where that came from. So, like I said, y'all can expect some super politically charged, philosophical ideas when it comes to the pleasure gap. And y'all gonna hear me talk a lot about the pleasure gap. And the reason that I'm gonna talk about the pleasure gap is because everyone is talking about the orgasm gap, right? You talk about the orgasm gap, and we'll get into this a whole nother episode because I got some shit to say. So I want us to get out of the habit of talking about the orgasm gap when really the pleasure gap is what needs our attention. Now, I say this because, of course, the orgasm gap exists. 80% of women do not experience orgasm through penetration alone. And this is specifically for heterosexual women. The biggest disparities when it comes to the orgasm gap are within heterosexual women, right? That said, when we talk about the orgasm gap and use an orgasm as the measuring stick or the goalpost, we are overshadowing and we're overlooking the fact that the lack of orgasm does not mean a lack of pleasure. And we are also overlooking the fact that the presence of an orgasm does not necessarily mean that, again, you didn't have fun, right? So you can experience pleasure absent of an orgasm. So yeah, that's the point that I'm making with that, right? It's more of it's a pleasure gap, because even if there is an orgasm or an ejaculation, that sometimes that is just a bodily reaction. So I kind of want to like dig a little deeper into that and explore that from a philosophy, social, historical, anthropology perspective, if you will. So yeah, what else? I'm still gonna be dropping them Skinamax episodes on Sunday. Y'all can continue to expect that. That's not going to change. Yeah, that's not gonna change. Now in the new year, it might be only that I do Skinamax on Patreon. I cannot predict the future, but what I will say is that at least through the year 2024, all of those episodes have been scheduled already, baby. I know exactly what I bulk recorded Skinamax, so all the episodes through the end of the year have been edited and scheduled to post. So y'all can definitely expect Skinamax through the end of the year. You don't gotta worry about that. It ain't going nowhere. And y'all can expect, it's Terry's fault that we ain't recording more Freaky Friday episodes, but y'all can expect more Freaky Friday episodes. I keep telling y'all that. I promise y'all, it's coming. It's on the way. It's on the way. And yeah, that's really, like I said, I'm gonna build out the Patreon more. So y'all just gotta I'm gonna make it to where I'm gonna be giving y'all so much in Patreon, from like tutorials and demonstrations and classes and ebooks and resources. I'm gonna try to provide y'all with so much value in Patreon with the transition and the rebranding of Her Nut Matters. So be on the lookout for that, because I'm building that out. I'm also writing a book. So you can expect that as well. I'm writing a book, so be on the lookout for that. And also be looking out for the first Her Nut Matters live show. It's coming. Hell, by the time this episode drop, it's probably gone. Y'all, the flyer would have dropped already, because the flyer is dropping within the next couple days. So be on the lookout for that as well. So when this drop, y'all gonna only have a couple days to get y'all tickets. So make sure y'all get y'all tickets, because it's gonna be on Black Wednesday. That's the day before Thanksgiving. And today, like I said, when y'all hear this, it's gonna be my birthday. So it's my birthday. And I am in Philly today on my birthday doing a live show with the Heart of South show. If you are listening to this, make sure y'all check in the links in our bios on Instagram, because that's where you can see the other cities that we are going to. We're going to Atlanta in March. We're going to Nashville in March. We're going to DC in December. November is when we gonna be in Philly and New York, and then we working on Orlando, we working on Houston, we working on Charlotte, y'all. Oh my God, we trying to come to Charlotte. So yeah, we got some shit. I'm cooking up some big shit for y'all. So that's all I got for this episode. You guys that are listening will henceforth be referred to as my nutty buddies. So get used to it. That's what I'm gonna be calling y'all from now on. And yeah, I just want to say, of course, again, always make sure y'all following me on all social platforms, because I be posting different shit on different whatevers. Still don't add me on Facebook. I don't like that shit. But you can definitely hit me up to continue to hit me up with y'all whole fashions, y'all whole stories. I can continue to read those on the show. Make sure y'all continue to like and review the show. Please, please, please. I ain't had nobody review my show in a minute, and I don't like that. But I know a lot of y'all is new here. So yeah, go ahead. Don't just rate the show, because my ratings are up. I need y'all to leave an actual review. Like, give me some feedback. Crack a joke. I don't fucking know. Do something, y'all. And yeah, that's all I got for this episode. I want to say thank y'all for listening and joining me on this journey to shift limiting beliefs to liberating beliefs, one nut at a time. So yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in to Her Nut Matters. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share the pleasure with others. Follow us on Instagram at Her Nut Matters to stay updated on everything we have going on. Remember, pleasure is power. Go out there and own yours. Catch you next time.